Hello and welcome to Tea Time. I'm Dr. Casey and I'm here today with Laura Pettit. And Laura is the amazing co-founder of Build Mind Body, which she started with her husband, and they have 3 children. She's also a certified nutritionist and has a background as a ballet and fitness instructor. So lots of awareness of the body and health and wellness. And she uses essential oils to support her own and her family's health on a daily basis. And she also enjoys sharing a lot of health and wellness information that's both practical and really easy to implement into routines. So Laura, I'm excited to talk with you here today and to hear some tips that people can learn from you about, how to incorporate more wellness into their lives.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fun to be here.
Yeah. Yay. Awesome. It's fun to have you here. So tell us how you got started using essential oils.
Okay, so this is kind of a funny story. My husband had a coworker at the time who started using essential oils. And so he bought some from her, didn't really tell me about him, and he didn't learn how to use them. This was about 12 years ago. So we had them sitting in our closet. They were all closed, and I didn't think anything of them. As I had a 2-year-old at the time and I had a newborn baby, and my 2-year-old was starting to get really active and into everything in our home. And she started climbing up the cupboards into the upper ones. And that is where I kept our cleaning supplies. And I didn't want her getting into those chemicals that could potentially cause her harm. And so I thought, there has got to be a way that I can clean my home without having these toxic chemicals. So this was the time, 12 years ago was the time when like Pinterest was really popular and there were a lot of blogs. And so I just started looking for ways that I could clean my home naturally. And every DIY recipe I found included essential oils. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have some of those in my closet. So I went to my closet, made some DIY recipes, and threw out all of our chemical cleaners. That was my first introduction to essential oils. And I loved that if my kids did happen to get into them, it wasn't going to be the same concern as having them be around a toxic chemical. That was my first experience.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's so like proactive too of, making that awareness and then that change. Yeah.
Well, the change also happened because I mentioned I had a newborn, right? So when I was pregnant, we moved when I was 8 months pregnant, and I was cleaning up the apartment that we had been in. And we had this shower that no matter what we did, always tended to have like this kind of like orangey stuff gather in the corners of the shower. Okay. So I was cleaning the tile with whatever chemical I had on hand, breathing it in and noticing this can't be good for me because I'm feeling kind of like, oh, breathing this in. And this certainly can't be good for my baby. And that was actually what spurred me into, in addition to my child getting into products, that I was like, breathing this stuff in cannot be good for us. And it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like an awakening almost.
Yeah. It's kind of like the beginning of it was kind of like the catalyst of a lot that led us down our wellness journey, especially with essential oils.
Yeah. And it's amazing like how common those products are and how common the use is. And, so many people use them and have, they smell and they know they're inhaling in a sense, but they don't have that necessarily the awareness that clicks in, and then the desire to change, which I think it's nobody's fault in particular. It's to have that motivation to make the change and to embrace more health for you and your family really is awesome.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like you often don't know what you don't know, right? Because then you wouldn't be doing it if you knew that it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Are there, since we're talking about it, are there any like household cleaning tips that you might have, or favorite oils that you might use for household cleaning? In particular, I'm thinking of like a dirtier surface. Are essential oils helpful with, like fighting bacteria, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they are. And there's some really good studies that you can look up that talk about the effectiveness of essential oils when it comes to cleaning and making sure that your surfaces are free from potential harmful things that you could have. In my home, I use kind of as just an all-purpose surface cleaner. I just use water with either some lemon, tea tree, orange. Those are all really effective at keeping your surfaces clean. So in maybe about a 16-ounce spray bottle, I'll add 20 to 30 drops of oil, fill the rest with water, and just use that to keep our surfaces wiped down. If I'm wanting a perhaps more heavier, maybe like a bathroom type cleaner or something, then I use a cleaning concentrate that comes pre-made that has essential oils in it and is plant-based surfactant. So it's really clean. And what I like about making sure that I have something natural in my home is that my kids can also help clean without me being like, oh my gosh, don't touch that, where they're learning what is safe for them, safe for their bodies, can participate in keeping our spaces clean as well, instead of being like, oh, adults only adults can touch that, where we have nothing in our house that I would feel uncomfortable with my kids getting into. Like there's nothing truly dangerous, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thank you for the tips with the spray bottle and everything. That's great. Do you like mixing the essential oils or just using like one by itself when you do a cleaning like that?
Oh goodness, that's a good question. They are effective on their own. So like a lemon or an orange would be effective on their own. Sometimes I throw in Siberian fir because I love how it smells. It has a really nice Christmas tree like pine type of scent that smells really yummy with either lemon or orange. Sometimes I mix them. Sometimes I just keep it simple. I also use a blend that has wild orange. It's a pre-made blend called On Guard. It has wild orange, clove, cassia, eucalyptus, some other essential oils, and that one's really effective. It's known as the protective blend and can help keep your surfaces nice and clear. And the cool thing about essential oils is you can use them for so many different things. So you can use On Guard to clean your home. You can also use it to help support your immune system. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use essential oils individually around your home.
Yeah. And I love that, like the smell of an oil versus like the smell of like something else that you're cleaning with, or even like an air freshener, like with the oil, that it's all like fine to breathe in. It's not going to do harm. But with the other stuff, it's like the more like if you know that it's not great for you, then you might be thinking about that. I know I would be thinking about that.
Sure. And with the toxic, with chemical, like commercial cleaners, they're often, as you may know, like endocrine disrupting, can really mess with a lot of things in our body just by breathing them in. They're difficult for our respiratory system. They're not good for our brains, for our hormones, and even just a little bit. You may not think, oh, a little spray here and there is not going to be a big deal. But one thing to keep in mind is the accumulation of using something like that day after day, year after year, and having that just be maybe one of many harmful products that we have around our home. The other thing I love about cleaning with essential oils is essential oils naturally are very, especially citrus oils, are really mood boosting. They can help you to feel happier, more energized, and sometimes cleaning's a drag, right? Like you don't feel like doing it. So imagine if you have a cleaner that smells really good and helps you feel happier, then you're going to enjoy your cleaning process just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a nice pick me up for the process. And then it smells nice and you get the benefits of it. Yeah. Yep. And I love what you said about the, it's the accumulation. It could just be a small amount, but it's the things we do every day, right? With general like health and wellness too. It's the things we do every day that can really make a difference long term. So it's not like if I go to a friend's house and there's like an air freshener scent in the air,
Sure.
I'm not crazy about it, but
Yeah.
it's not a big deal because it's not a daily thing. So just in terms of how we think about it, that I think that point that you made can be really helpful too. It's those things you're daily doing, daily exposures.
And those are simple things to swap out, right? And the more little tiny things that we do on a daily basis that we can switch out to be a healthier, cleaner, more natural version, the better in the long run.
Yeah. This is so great. Are there, do you have favorite, like maybe one or two or whatever you want to mention, favorite essential oils for anything in particular, anything that stands out to you?
Oh goodness, picking a favorite essential oil is like picking a favorite child. Like it's impossible.
Or maybe one that you go back to often, or there's probably a lot of those too.
I'll tell you a few that let me tell you one that I love and why I love it for a very specific reason. How about that? Because I use essential oils for my skincare, to help my kids when they have upset stomachs, to, like there's just a whole range of things that cleaning, obviously, a whole range of things you can use it with. One of my very favorite essential oils is a blend called Adaptive. And Adaptive has lavender, wild orange, copaiba, and a few other essential oils that are very calming and soothing to your nervous system. So it's amazing that when you breathe in essential oil in, simply by smelling something, as soon as you start to smell it, the essential oil particles pass through your olfactory nerve and go to the part of your brain known as your limbic system. And your limbic system is in charge of managing your mood and emotions and memories, right? And I like to use the example of when you're feeling anxious, right? If you're feeling anxious or nervous about something. And when you start to have that feeling, your body has physiological responses to that, right? So your palms might start to get sweaty, your heart might beat faster, you might get butterflies in your stomach simply from the feeling of being nervous. And your limbic system is in charge of sending those physiological responses of like how to act when you have that emotion, right? So when you smell an essential oil, it goes to that same part of your brain, your limbic system, and it can send signals to the rest of your body that it's okay to calm down. It's okay to relax, to kind of help you get out of that fight or flight and feel like you're safe. And that I have noticed, especially with my children, how they are feeling stressed, frustrated, anxious, upset, perhaps a tantrum, and having them just be able to smell an essential oil like Adaptive, that's our favorite go-to. It's so incredible for mental and emotional wellness, calming down, feeling relaxed and peaceful again. So I would say that is probably one of my number one.
That sounds beautiful. Yeah. And that like stress response, that anxiety response that you're describing, that we all experience it a little bit differently, but it's something that I think everybody's familiar with. And just, there's, especially today, not just the pandemic time, but just like the modern world, we're not meant to be in that state for prolonged periods of time repeatedly. So the more like the more tools we have that can help to help our bodies to manage it, I think the better.
I agree with you. We live in a really stressful time, and we are bombarded with information so rapidly, more so than we ever have been before. And that for sure has an effect on how we can relax or not relax. All of those things, it really factor. And I found that this blend, Adaptive, is really effective if you just smell it straight from the bottle or put it in a diffuser to disperse it into the air. You can use essential oils by smelling them. You can use them topically. There's some that are safe to take internally. It just depends, right? But smelling an essential oil is the quickest way that you can get the benefits. of aromatherapy. And it really is so helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And I have experienced, when like if you're just feeling a little bit tired or you need like a little wake up and you take a sniff of a strong scent, whether like it's an essential oil or like if you're outside or you have like a pine tree or you're cutting up a lemon or something and take a sniff, the smell can be invigorating too. So, I think probably everyone has had some experience with that power of smell, the power of the aroma.
Yeah, it's a really powerful sense and a good one for a wake up or like an energy boost. Is peppermint. Peppermint is really opening. It's like a vasodilator, opening, energizing, can help you focus. So that's a really good one if you're needing a little afternoon pick me up.
Yeah, very nice. Awesome. Before we wrap up, are there any just like, wellness things, practices that you do every day that you feel like maybe just one, if anything comes to mind that you feel like really helps to whether ground you or just, helps with keeping you in your routine? Is there anything wellness related in addition to the essential oils that you feel like is a big part of wellness for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have what I like to call my core 4 habits, which
Love
are
it.
working to nourish my body, right? Every single day, moving my body. And movement, I think, can often get a bad rap where it has to be something hard and long and that you don't like it, right? Like exercise can't be fun. Finding something that you enjoy, moving your body every day is so important. The third one is making sure that you're getting enough sleep. And then the last one is managing your stress. And that, as we've talked about, maybe easier said than done, but there are a lot of really simple ways. So let's focus on that one for a second. Every morning, I have 3 kids, I homeschool, I run a business, and everybody has a lot going on in their life. That's just how it is. So my preference is I try to wake up before my kids do. I spend a little bit of time meditating and journaling, just kind of like a thought dump, getting my thoughts and my feelings out. And it doesn't need to be long, but it's really helpful for me, as you mentioned, to stay grounded and to stay present. Now, when I couple this meditation and journaling with an essential oil, it's even more powerful because I'm incorporating more of my senses and using the essential oil as an additional tool to help me feel calm, relaxed, and grounded. So I like to use Adaptive, which is the one I mentioned earlier, or a blend called Balance, which does exactly what it says it'll do. It helps you to feel grounded. It's a blend of tree oils, and tree oils are extremely grounding and just peaceful and strong. They have such a good energy. So I just smell an essential oil. I'll put a little bit on my wrists, on the back of my neck, perhaps on the bottoms of my feet, put it in my diffuser. Any of those options work great. And then do that little morning routine before I start my day, and then move my body, of course. So that's kind of like my morning thing.
Awesome. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It sounds like you're really nourishing yourself, taking care of yourself, so then you can take care of everybody else in your family, in your business and everything during the day. Those morning practices can be so powerful. I acknowledge you for having that in place, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. I've noticed over the years that it has made a big difference, especially when my kids were younger, when they were babies. They're not babies anymore, but when they were younger, I realized that by the end of the day, I felt so drained if I didn't do something for me first. So when I say it can be as short as 5 minutes, right? But just doing something intentional for you. And as the saying goes, filling your cup first so you can pour into everybody else. I really have found that to be key for me to enjoying the rest of my day and interacting as a happier person with everybody, because you don't want to interact with people when you're feeling terrible or frustrated or overwhelmed with stuff, and nobody else wants to interact with you either when you feel that way. It's just not a good combo.
Yeah. Oh, this has been such a good conversation. Thank you for sharing so much. And I just have one more thought. So I'm just going to mention it because I love what you said about like using the oils during when you're meditating and during that morning routine time. And I think it's for a lot of us, it can be helpful to have those kind of seemingly simple practices that we do, like, it takes a few seconds to apply the oil to, your soles, your palms, wherever you're putting it. It takes a few seconds, but having that practice that you do like day in and day out, it's so simple in a sense, but those little things can make such a big difference because it's that the routine of them that really, it's like roots in the morning. It's like grounding you there for the rest of your day. So I love that.
Yeah, you're right.
You
Essential oils I use to anchor my habits, right? To anchor my wellness habits. So that is just one example, and it's so helpful.
Awesome. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to share that we haven't talked about?
I guess the thing that comes to mind is that investing in yourself and in your personal wellness is one of the best investments that you will ever make. And focusing on taking care of you is so worthwhile and a really important thing. And if you're feeling overwhelmed with so much when it comes to health and you're just beginning your wellness journey, just pick one thing. Start small, start there, making little baby changes, and you will be amazed at how much better you feel, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally able to handle just like the daily frustrations that come your way. So it's always worth investing in yourself every single day, the best that you can.
I second that. Yeah, awesome. How can people get in touch with you best if they want to get more information or learn a little bit more from you? What's the best way?
Okay, the best place is to find me on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm at Build Mind Body, and I share a lot of wellness tips, a lot of things for moms, a lot about essential oils. So, yep, all those things we talked about.
Awesome. I'm going to put your Instagram and your website too in the notes below the video. And I love your posts on Instagram. And I love how you make things simple and practical and just, and I think people can really feel a connection with you because you're present in what you post. So I think that's big. So yeah, I'll post your Instagram and your website below the video so people can connect with you. And thank you for being here. This was great.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate this. This is really fun.
All right, awesome. I will talk with you soon.
Okay, sounds good.